Good morning, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the Civilized Presence. You were in the right place at the right time. Well, just give us 2 minutes for Facebook to bring this video up. I'm looking for this video and I have to put it on the page of my guest as well. Just 1 second. All right. Dinner, I have it right on your page right now.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you
Good
so much
morning.
for joining us. Let me know where you're joining from. Um, just give us a moment. I'm trying to put this on different pages. Just give us a moment. Thank you. Okay. Welcome. Welcome. Let me know where you're joining from. Thank you. Give us a moment. We're almost there. Okay. Perfect. Okay, we're almost there. Welcome. Give us a wave and let us know where you're joining from. Good morning. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. It's so good to have you. Welcome, Trent. It's good to have you. Thank you for jumping on so early. Welcome, Alina. It's good to have you in the house. It's the Civilized Presence. Lila, I'm excited to see you. Janet, I am excited. Kate, thank you. Emanuela, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Civilized Presence. Sister Dulcie, thank you for making out time to be here. Good morning. It's a Monday morning right here in Virginia, and I'm so excited to have all of you in the house. Welcome, Miran. It's great to have you in the house. Tolu, it's great to have you. Wenger, it's great to have you. Sandra, Stephanie, thank you for joining us. You are welcome to the Civilized Presence, guys. I am so excited. Yes, there are a lot of new faces, so I'm just going to do my introduction. Civilized Presence is an online TV session where lives are changed, where people discover their self, purpose, voice, and learn social skills to thrive in the real world. So if you want to become a change maker, you are in the right place this morning. So I'm so excited to have you here. Now, some of you might not know who I am. My name is Louisa Akaiso, and I am going to be your host for today. Now, I feel so honored that you responded to the call, to the post, to the flyer. I'm not sure where you're joining us from. Are you on Facebook? Welcome. On Instagram? Welcome. Are you on YouTube? Welcome. Thank you for being here. There are a lot of people who are just trying to jump in. Blessing. It's good to have you in the house. So just come into the comment box and say a quick hello. Let us know where you're joining from. Let's just know your city. I want to know how many countries are represented this morning. Izzy, thank you so much for joining. Esther, thank you so much for joining. Bola, thank you so much for joining. Thank you. It's the Civilized Presence. I'm excited to see you all. It's a warm Monday morning, so I'm so excited, guys. I'm pumped up, and I have the best guest in the house this morning. So, so many reasons to be excited. So, you want to come on in and join this party. Listen, you don't want to be late for the party, so come on in, invite your friends and family, invite your neighbors, invite your enemies too, because it's a great message, and you want to learn with everyone. So, welcome. Now, so many of you might have never been here before. We're here every Mondays and Fridays, usually at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, but recently we've changed to 8:30 a.m. We're just trying to check out that time and how this is going to work. It looks like traffic is getting so crazy these days. So, yes, I had to shift it a bit just for 30 minutes, but let's just see how that works. Welcome, Lucia. It's good to have you in the house from Kenya. Thank you, my friend. I can see Kenya, I can see Nigeria, I can see Canada, I can see London, UK, I can see America, and there's some other people. Joanne, thank you from Nigeria. Thank you. And there is Ghana in the house. Thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you. Now, the focus of this Facebook series is really to help restore civility in our society. And I've been doing this from last year, April, and I haven't been working alone. I've been working with other professionals and experts from all over the world, really breaking down the concept of civility into tiny bits for you to understand how easy but important for you to be civil. And if you've been hanging out with me, you would learn that it's as easy as saying please and thank you. Good morning is another way of being civil, or even sharing a compliment, just like I'm going to do right now. That Tina, you look amazing this morning. Thank you so much for
Thank you
making
so
up
much.
time.
And so do you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, guys, as we go along, of course, I'm going to share a definition of civility to you. And, we really just share different definitions just to get you. I want to make sure that before you get out of the session, you have something tangible that you can work with, something you're going to remember. So, civility is focused on gracious goodness. So, let me just share a definition of civility with you. I've chosen one from Dr. Pierre Funny this morning. I call him the grandfather of civility. I love him so much. He left us a couple of months ago, but I think he's here with us in spirit and he's happy and smiling down on what I am doing this morning. And that states that being civil means being constantly aware of others and weaving restraint, respect, and concentration into that very fabric of awareness. So, civility is a form of goodness, it's gracious goodness. Civility, you can look at civility as the golden rule, treating others the way you want to be treated. It's about you being responsible for your actions. Apologize earnestly if you have to. Refrain from idle complaints. And of course, pay attention to the person next to you. So you might be saying, Louisa, that's quite a lot. I want you to leave here with something. And that is that civility is focused on positive people's treatment. So, the world is really, it gets busy and crazy and people just kind of get out of their heads and just start swearing. I can imagine I had a terrible morning this morning. My day started off like, oh, I got up this morning, I was ready to go, and I jumped to the car to the garage, and guess what, my car wouldn't start. I'm thinking, excuse me, how is this going to happen? Tina is waiting. So thankfully, my sister was around and I had to pick up her car and I jumped in. Guess what? There was no gas in her car. So I drove out and I looked for the closest gas station, got in the traffic to the closest gas station, got there to the gas station, and I slotted my card, tried to pay, and guess what? I couldn't pump. The pump was faulty. And I'm thinking, are you serious this morning? Really? And so I walked in, to talk to the attendant, and I said, "My pump is not working. What do I do?" And she said, "Oh my God, you look beautiful." I said, "Thank you. That feels good." I said, "I look beautiful, but it's such an interesting morning. Can you fix my pump?" And so she comes up to just try to fidget on it and all of that, and finally gets it up and running. And I got into traffic for like 30 minutes. But guys, you know what? Happiness is a choice. I could have been so mad and so grumpy, and you know what? It's just going to ruin my whole entire day. So as soon as I got into my car, I turned on my music and I started dancing, and I was so excited because I knew I was going to meet Tina this morning and I was going to spend time with you. So, civility, we have to be responsible for the way that we react to things. Okay, for our actions, the impact of our actions. If I was so upset and so pissed off, then I would have poured out that anger from the gas station to the road, to the people in my office, to the elevator. Everyone is just going to be frowning at me. And of course, I wouldn't have made it here this morning, just being happy and having the right form of energy. So civility begins with all of us. And welcome, Jan. It's good to have you here from South Africa, my friend. Thank you so much. The JMT family is in the house. Guys, some of you might not know this about me, but I am a master civility trainer. and a leadership coach and expert with the John Maxwell team. And of course, I work confidently with leaders and professionals that place great importance in themselves and their reputation. And that's going to be you this morning because you made our time to be here with me. And welcome, Ambassador Jaja from Kenya. It's so good to have you in the house. So, guys, I'm not going to take so much of your time because we have the expert in the house. And I know that the question at the back of your mind is, Louisa, who is this beautiful lady? Now, some of you might have seen the flyer or the post, but maybe you haven't. Well, her name is Tina Outley. Did I get that right, Tina?
Ma'am.
Okay. Well, if I did not, I'm going to give me a couple of minutes. I haven't had anything this morning yet, so that might be an excuse. Well, I'll be making a mistake. But Tina is a certified children's etiquette instructor and a speech pathologist. She corrected me with that because she has a background with that. But she also has over 15 years of experience in working with children and families. She's also the founder of Manners Matter Daily, which of course has its mission to empower and educate our youth through character and youth development training using the Golden Rule Civility for children's etiquette lessons. And Miss Tina is a proud member of NAUEP, National Association of Urban Etiquette Professionals. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Tina to the house. Woohoo! Welcome, Tina.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm humbled. I am honored. I have followed you and watched you for so long. So to finally have an opportunity to come on and share this platform with you, it means everything to me, and I appreciate you for allowing me the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. It's such an honor to be working with you. And thank you for the work that you do with the young people. I have to applaud you for that. We don't have enough experts all over the world. The world needs our message. Our message is still relevant. But all of the work that you're doing in Kansas, you were amazing. You were doing great.
Thank
So I'm just going to give you a thumbs up this morning. And guys, do the same thing. Give us some hearts. Give us some thumbs up. Bring on all the questions that you have this morning. We're ready for you. So some of you might have seen the flyer or maybe not. And Lucia is commenting on the watch party. But for some reason, I am not seeing the comments. I don't know. Facebook is a little funky this morning, but that's okay. Lucia, I appreciate you for making up time to be here. Guys, if I haven't called your name, that doesn't mean that I do not care. I love you very much. It's just that Facebook is not bringing up your name yet. I'm still waiting. As soon as I see your name, I'm going to give you a shout out. Trust me for that. Okay, so the topic of today, some of you might have seen it, maybe not. It is the ABCs of transitioning from backpack to briefcase. Now, I know that's a topic that got people thinking, what's Louisa going to be talking about this morning? Oh, yes. Welcome, Patrick. It's good to have you in the house. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know what's going on with Facebook this morning, but it looks like I'm not seeing a lot of people, but I'm just getting notifications. So many people are tuning in, and welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, all of you. If I haven't mentioned your name, blame it on Facebook. I don't know what Facebook is doing this morning, but I'm excited that you're here. I'm seeing the numbers coming in, but I cannot see some people directly, but thank you. What you have to do is just to follow me on my business page. It's So Unique Experts, so that I can see your comments and I can give you a shout out, or add me on Facebook. It's Louisa Akaiso. While we get back to the deal of today, so do me a favor. Please share this video on your page. Invite other people to be part of what we're about to do this morning. Thank you so much in advance. Okay, backpack to briefcase. So we know that our young people and children, of course, while going to school, have a backpack. Most of them carry a backpack. That's what they love. If you buy something else for them, it's like, no, mom, I need a backpack. Now, when they are going into the world, going into the workplace, going into the office, moving on maybe to colleges, they need to transit to that briefcase. Now, it is not just all about you going to the store to pick up a new briefcase for your child, to your daughter, for your son. But my question for you this morning is, do you think that they have the right social skills that's going to help them transit successfully? And this is what we've been doing in the month of July and August, of course, because the young people are home. We've had sessions that are focused on youth development and, of course, effective parenting. And that's what we've been doing because the young people are home. So, of course, invite all the young people who are around you to be part of what we're doing, please. Um, there is some kind of noise from you, Tina. Is everything okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just carry along. Yes, thank you so much, Lucia. I can now see that you're in the watch party. I'm so sorry that it took forever for me to notice that you were here. It just has to do with Facebook. Facebook is a little funky this morning, but we're gonna have fun with it. Welcome,
Yes.
Dee. It's great to have you in the house. Thank you so much for making out time. So, how this works, Tina, is really to get started with questions and begin the conversation. Maybe we might have another question from the audience, but if not, we will just carry on with the conversation. So, my
Okay.
first question for you this morning would be, what does civility mean to you? Whether it's civility, whether it's the golden rule civility, whether it's etiquette, what does it mean to you? Over to you, Tina.
Yes, civility is nothing more than people treatment, politeness, being kind and considerate of others, treating others how we want to be treated. And that's the premises in which the program is built on. That's what I teach my students, to just be mindful of others and their feelings, and allowing them to be able to put themselves in other people's shoes. So I always break it down to them that civility is just kindness and people treatment. That's simply the way to put it. It's the simple way for them to understand that don't do anything to others that you would not want done to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I love that. That is simple enough. Being kind, the art of being polite, courtesy, treating others the way you want to be treated, compassion, empathy. And, when we're working with children, of course, we have to break it for them to understand us and be able to use it. Respect is a big portion of civility. Respect, you cannot run away from respect. Respect of yourself, respect of other people, respect of other people's properties, every form of respect. That's what civility is all about. And thank you so much for all of you who are sharing this video. I can see that on my screen. Thank you. I really appreciate you all, because together, Facebook is going to be able to use this video for something great. When you give us all the heart, when you share it, when you give us a thumbs up, they'll make it available for a lot more people. So please do that this morning. Just be civil this morning by sharing this content. And thank you so much, Lucia. It's so good. It's such an honor to have you in the house this morning. So this is going to take me to my next question for you, Tina. Is when we talk about going, transiting from backpack to briefcase, can you just give us that in a summary? What do you mean by that? Over to you.
Yes, manners and social skills have to be actively taught. Just as we teach children to read and write, we also have to actively teach them character and manners and social skills so that they are able to successfully navigate their way through college, job interviews, or wherever they found themselves. So it is very important that we teach them character. Said it best that the goal of the education is to create a whole child and to create a whole education. And we just can't teach them to read and write without teaching them character. So I think it's very important that as they begin, we try to begin with the end in mind. Backpack and briefcase was built on that premises. So beginning with the end in mind, keeping them informed of their decisions and their choices, and how that they can come back later to, it can make them or break them. So we always teach them to be mindful of what they do wherever they go. And so backpack to briefcase, it's a good program for them to learn a lot about just, interview etiquette. We teach dining etiquette. We teach the proper introductions. Children need to know that a proper introduction includes, shaking hands, a smile, and being confident. And we want them to know that we want to include all of that, and we include that in all our lessons. So it is very important that we actively teach these skills to our because we can't just assume that they will pick it up because they have so much content. You know, the technology is booming today, and there's so much content that they're bombarded with. And so it's very important that we have proper skills and lessons put in place so that they can definitely benefit from being taught skills.
Yes, thank you so much. And I have a comment from the audience from Lucia says it's important to teach children manners, character, and skills. Thank you, Lucia. It's so good to have you here this morning. Welcome, Kiki, my friend. It's good to have you from Toronto, Canada. Thank you. My family from Canada, they're all here. I'm so excited to have you guys here. Okay, so this is going to take me to my next question. Now, when children are going from maybe elementary schools or to colleges to the workplace, some of the things that are so important for them is really building the right confidence.
Yes,
um, Another thing is knowing the do's and don'ts of etiquette, of civility,
yeah.
of protocol. Communication is so important. Now, I want people, we have a lot of parents and, of course, educators on the line, and you've been teaching this for quite a while now. Now, how can we help a child who is struggling, for example, to be able to develop a winning character that's going to help them succeed in the next level of their lives? Over to you, Tina.
Yes, we need to help children to just learn to love all the unique things about themselves. You know, help them to identify, the great things, their great attributes that they have. Children are very critical. They're hard on themselves. We need to pull out. We need to help them identify and pull out the great things about themselves. It helps boost their confidence and it helps them to be more productive. And once they're more productive, they can go on and do better things in life. So we definitely want to be providing them with confidence and confidence boost activities that center around confidence. Getting them involved in camps and things of that nature. Even just lesson plans. I know a lot of teachers and educators do incorporate character and self-esteem, esteem building activities into their lessons. So that is very important. Keeping them informed and around positive environments, and make sure that their peers are positive. There's a lot of peer pressure going on with our students today. They believe who people say they are and not who they actually are. So it's important that we help them to define who they are, so that when others tell them who they are not, they can still be confident in knowing who that they are.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for inviting a lot more people. Thank you. I can see us just sharing this. This is powerful. And this is going to take me to my next question. Um, when we talk about children transiting, so many things are so important. Of course, research has shown us that 85% of our success is based on social skills. So there is no hiding place anymore. And so we have to pay attention, whether as parents, whether as educators, to help those children because they cannot do it on their own. Now, something that is so important, like you were just talking about it, is a powerful first impression. That is so important. Can you talk to the audience about the importance of having a powerful or making a powerful first impression? What is first impression? And why is it so important in the life of a child? Over to you, Tina.
Yes, it takes about, I think it's 10 to 30 seconds. You only have about 10 to 30 seconds, yes, when you first meet someone to make a great first impression. And you want to make sure that it's good. A first great impression includes making eye contact. Being able to be confident and showcase that confidence and being able to hold a conversation effectively. So, a first impression, you only have 30 minutes. Within that first 30 minutes, people are able to tell a lot about you. So it's very important that they, are using good posture, that they are confident in who they are, because they only have about 30 seconds to make that. So they're very important. And that's what people will always remember you by. That's what people will leave. Once they leave you, they're going to either forget you or they're going to remember you. And so you want to create a memorable first impression, is what I tell my students, by, being present with whomever you're meeting, showing an interest in what they're talking about as well. People know if you're listening to them. So it's very important that they have active listening skills and that they're paying attention and just presenting themselves in the best light. It's so important for first impression.
Thank you. Thank you for that contribution. And this is going to take me to my next question. But guys, some of you are just coming in for the first time. It's the Civilized Presence. And the title for today is the ABCs of transitioning from backpack to briefcase. So do you have the young people around you who are trying to transit from the school environment to the office space or going into colleges? What are they struggling with? Come in and be part of this conversation. Come in and ask us your questions. We're ready to work on that. Now, this is going to take me to your next question for you, Tina, is I want you to talk about interviewing etiquette.
Yes,
And that's something that the young people struggle with. Most of them is the first time they're going to be leaving home. It's the first time they're getting a job. They've gone to school. They've done well. They probably are an honor student. But how does that translate into, being able to go through the interview and be able to get the job? And what do they need to know when they're going for the interview? Over to you, Tina.
thank you. Yes, definitely. I have students. One of the reasons why I created and wanted to implement backpack to briefcase, because yes, I have students that have struggled. Even my own daughter, she just recently got a new job, and she was kind of struggling with interviewing, and she wasn't feeling as confident as she should. So, we it's important that we work with them on who they are, making sure that they research the company is always good before they go and start. Make sure that they qualified for the position, making sure that they know what the company expectations are, just making sure that they know everything about the position in which they're applying for. I do a lot of mock interviews with my students before interviews to make sure that they're confident. I do a lot of role playing with them. So these type of activities are very helpful when interviewing. Students tend to not know what to say or know how to respond. And they're really nervous, and it helps with their anxiety. A lot of them are anxious. I tell them to just put their best foot forward, think about all the great qualities that they do have and that they can be an asset to any company. So it's very important that we work with our children on their interviewing techniques before they go out there. Employers are looking for, those candidates that are confident, who have integrity, who choose to do the right thing. They're looking for those candidates that passionately pursue excellence, that's going to choose to always have good work ethics in all the activities. So we need to make sure that our children have those skills already so that we can continue to grow and develop those skills.
Thank you. Thank you. And we have more people who have jumped on. Welcome, Simona. It's great to have you. Welcome, Susan Jacobs. That's an image consultant from Canada. It's so good to have you, Patrick Pierce. Thank you for making out time to be here. The conversation is the ABCs of transiting from backpack to briefcase. And welcome, Nikki. It's great to have you here from Canada. Thank you. We're quite popular today in Canada. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Dee from Virginia. It's good to have you. I'm so excited to have all of you just jump in and have fun with me. And I'm going to say thank you over and over again because without you, the show will not go on. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for your support, for standing by me, for showing up every Mondays and Fridays. That's a lot. So thank you. I really appreciate you. We've been doing this since last year, and we had session number 120, 120. And you have been working with me, from different parts of the world. We're global this morning. So I want to say a big thank you to you. Now, this is going to take me to my next question for you, Tina. It's
Yes.
something that the young people, of course, struggle with is social media etiquette.
Yeah.
And now, of course, employers are looking at the social media.
Yes.
I had, a colleague of mine shared something with me of how they went for an interview and there were so many of them who did great. And you know what happened? Right after the session, the MD decided to just go on what it was Facebook on social media to check them out. First off, the guy who was actually the best, he was not represented properly on social media.
Mhm.
First of all, he did not have the right name. He
Hmm.
changed his name. He had this nickname on social media, which of course was different from his real name, and his photograph did not represent him well. So I think it's so important for us to educate the young people on what is acceptable on social media. I always say that do not put anything on social media that you do not want on the billboard, because that's where it is. When you put it on social media, it's always going to be out there. If you're not proud of it, if you don't think you're happy with it, do not put it out there.
Right.
So I would love you to speak to our young people on social media etiquette. What is acceptable? What should they do? What are the do's and don'ts of social media? Over to you, Tina.
Thank you. Yes, that is definitely important. I tell my students, especially my high school students, that your social media account is kind of like a high school resume. It says a lot about you. So it's very important that you are only putting out information, as you said, that you want the world to see. I did a social media account last summer, and I had a lot of students in there that didn't realize that, holding up money or, being involved in gang activities and things of that nature could potentially harm them in the future. Definitely, as you stated, that a lot of colleges, a lot of employers, that is where they're going now to doing the streamline process to see what your online profile life is like. And so it's very important that we're not putting anything out there that's not going to represent you in the best light. And children aren't aware of it. So it's very important that we keep them aware that that's their digital footprint. It can be traced, and once it's put out there, it doesn't go anywhere. And they need to be mindful of that. And even with that, they also need to be reminded of respectful communication online. Even though, despite the fact that it's not a face-to-face contact, they still need to be reminded to communicate effectively, and that's the main goal, and that's what I promote with social media etiquette, just making sure that they understand that it can follow them for the rest of their life. It's like a resume. It can be tracked, and I want them to understand that they have a choice to make as to how they want the world to perceive them. It's all about a choice. So that is what I encourage them to clean up their social media profile to ensure that they are sending the message that they want the world to see.
Thank you, Tina. It's so great to have this conversation with you this morning. And I have a lot more people who are coming on. Wenger from Nigeria, it's good to have you. Thank you. Sandra, it's good to have you. Thank you so much. Mireille, it's good to have you in the house. Thank you. The conversation this morning is the ABCs of transiting from backpack to briefcase. So, literally, we are just talking about what are those things that the young people need? What do they need to develop on? What do they need to build to be able to succeed in their next level of life? So we're excited as parents, we're excited to have our young people grown and just see them step out of the house. But do they have the right skills? Do you think they're going to succeed? It's not just about getting them through the door. How are they going to show up? So this is going to take me to my next question, because of course when we think about ABCs, being an image consultant is appearance, behavior, and communication. So appearance is a big piece. The kind of clothing, what should they wear? The do's and don'ts of clothing for the young people, because sometimes you find that young people are trying to get a job in the workplace, but of course they might be saying the right thing, they might have the right degrees, they might have the right certifications, but they do not look the part. And for you to be able to make that powerful impression, first impression, you have to think about the way you look, the way you sound, and the way you behave. All of them work together. So, Tina, if you can talk to our audience about clothing, what is acceptable when they're going for that interview? What do they need to pay attention to? Because we need to pay attention to details here. What should they wear? What shouldn't they wear? Over to you, Tina.
Definitely. I would definitely suggest, business casual attire, business attire. You want to stay away from, I know that hair colors and things of that nature are really popular right now, and they do look really good, but I would not encourage, our young people to, go to an interview with red, purple, or green hair. I definitely would, consider dark colors. I would definitely encourage them to make sure that their nails are clean, they're groomed, that they're, showered, of course. Um, Again, business attire, slacks, a suit, a white blouse always go over well, grays. and make sure that their nails aren't too long, and just make sure that they're feeling confident and not pushing it too far. I know that our society has made a lot of things normal, but when you're talking about business and corporate settings, you definitely want to look to par and definitely do research, as I said earlier, as to the company that you're going to work for. And I do know that when you interview, sometimes you're interviewing for different positions, and different positions require different, clothing. So all of that factors in as well. So I definitely want to encourage my young people that's going in for interviews to make sure that they're presenting themselves in the best professional manner as possible, and that they are dressed apart, and that their clothes are clean, their nails are clean, and they're groomed. And that's really what it's all about.
Yes, that is so correct. And thank you so much for sharing that. Lucia is here talking about respectful communication on social media. This is important for young people to know. That is correct because the young people just show up on social media and put up just anything on social media. I mean, how do you expect to be hired if you're on social media swearing? For example. Nobody's going to hire you. And another comment from Lucia, please discuss church etiquette, especially how we dress our kids. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's so important. So that's for you, Tina. Lucia wants to talk about church etiquette, especially how to dress the kids up for church, the young people. What should they wear? What shouldn't they wear? Because when we talk about etiquette, of course, it's codes of conduct for a particular place and time. So, what is acceptable? Over to you, Tina.
Again, I always try to be safe. Make sure you're covered up. Make sure that, you're not in anything that's too form fitted, in church, and make sure you have on the proper, underwear, things of that nature. Make sure it comes to your knee, at least knee length it's a good length to measure by. Just make sure that it's tasteful. I tell my ladies that your clothes should be tasteful, tight enough for them to know that you're a lady, but still loose enough to for you to be a lady. So not too tight. That's very important. I know that the bodycon dresses are really in, and we just have to be mindful that they're loose enough as well to show that we're a lady.
I think that when we think about civility is really the why and the how. And of course, if respect is something that we're very particular about, if you have to go to church, please find out what are the codes of conduct. What do they believe in? What kind of church are you visiting? Find out the form of dressing. What is the dress code for this church? For example, some churches would allow you to leave your hair open, some would not. Some would permit that you can put on pants, some would not. But whatever the case may be, I would encourage that you make sure that you are decent enough because civility encourages you to be decent. I find that a lot of times people show up in the church with so many things hanging out all over the place, especially the underwears. I always say that the underwears are supposed to stay under, and that's why it's called underwears. It shouldn't be sticking out. When you find that when you look in the mirror and we can see anything that is underneath your clothing, you are not dressed appropriately. It doesn't matter where you're going. And of course, the length is so important. Let it be decent. What is decent enough? Cover up those places that can be offensive, those parts of your body that can be offensive to other people because you don't want to be a distraction. If you have to go to church, please respect the people who are going to be there. If you have to go to work, respect those who are going to be there. You don't want to show up at work looking like you're just coming from a nightclub. I don't have a problem with those people who are going to the nightclub. That's not a problem. But wear the right clothes, the appropriate clothes for where you're going. Dress the way you want to be addressed. Because the minute you show up in the workplace looking like you're coming from the nightclub, that's how you're going to be addressed. Everybody's going to be rude to you. No one is going to take you seriously. So, this is something that we have to share with our young people and parents. Please help us at home. I know that when they're growing up and sometimes in the high school and when they're a lot younger, the shorter the skirt, the better because you want to make them looking cute, especially the girls. You want it short and nice. But as soon as they grow older and they're going to be transiting into the workplace, As soon as they grow older and they're going to be relating with other people, connecting with other people for more serious reasons, their clothing will have to change. Their dress code would have to change. Maybe what you've been putting on 15 years ago is not going to work anymore. Maybe what you had to wear to that princess party doesn't fit anymore. It might have been your best outfit in your closet, but you cannot wear it to church. You cannot wear it to the office. You cannot wear it to the workplace. You cannot wear it for a meeting. You cannot wear it for an interview. Another thing that I always say to the young people when you're going for an interview is always best to pay attention to grooming. Because when we talk about appearance, a lot of people think that appearance is all about how expensive the clothes are or just putting on the right clothes. What about grooming? Did you even brush your hair nicely? If you have to put on makeup, then do it, but make it neat. Whatever that you want to do. You don't want to show up in an interview with a big dangling earrings because, of course, the person that is talking to you will be distracted with what you have on. They can't even hear what you're saying. So you always have to find out, where am I going to do a research? Like Tina has just said, do a research and find out about this company. What is the mission of this company? Do they have a dress code? What do they believe in? Dress the way that you want to be addressed. It's so important, because if you were dressed up like you do not know where you're going, chances are that you just kind of mistakenly bumped into this office and you're not really the right person. And of course, when you show up with your resume, I'm going to be like, no, excuse me, this can't be you. You cannot represent our company, because organizations are very particular about who they're hiring, because their mission, their goals, and what they stand for must reflect in their employees. And
Absolutely.
so if you show up at the door looking totally on the opposite direction from what they stand for, they're not going to hire you. And so it's important for us to share this with our young people. I hope I'm not coming up very harsh this morning, but there's some things that we just cannot play around with, because we do not want you to make a mistake. Now, another thing that I want us to talk about, Tina, and this is my next question for you, is email writing.
Yes.
A lot of our young people struggle with writing email, writing text, any form of written communication. Because we're so used to saying slangs, we're so used to writing slangs, and this is why we have to correct this. And this is even for our adults too. On social media, we get so carried away by using slangs that when it is time for us to use the right words, we forget the right words, and it happens. It's just gonna slip in there. And so a lot of people who are connected to me on my page, if you sent me a message and you are trying to write a sentence and it's like you are for you are, I'm going to say no. I think that message is not for me. Do you want to rewrite it? Because I don't want to encourage that. So Tina, please, can you speak about that? Every form of written communication, what do you see the young people struggle with? What should they be doing? What should an email have? What should a letter have? What should a text have? The tone of their communication is so important. Over to you, Tina.
Yes, definitely. Our teenagers, our young people have definitely come up with their own language. That's for sure. And it's important that we remind them that there's still, the English language that we all use, and they need to abide and adhere to that. So definitely want to make sure that we check in our grammar, we're checking our spelling, we're checking the tone of the message. A lot of times you see all caps, that automatically means that you're screaming. So we want to make sure that we're not using too many explanation points. We want to make sure that we're not capitalizing our words. And we want to make sure that we are communicating respectfully. Even in our emails, our texts, online, we just want to make sure that our message is clear and that it's respectful, that the person that's receiving the message will receive it in the best possible positive way.
Yes, and welcome, Arlene. It's good to have you here, my sister. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, Ricky, my friend from Virginia. It's great to have you in the house. Yes, the conversation this morning is the ABCs of transitioning from backpack to briefcase. And I have Tina Outley in the house. She's an etiquette expert. And we have been talking about what our young people need to move on to the next level of life. So, of course, do you have any young person around you? Do you have any kids who are going to be going out for an interview, who have just finished school, and you're struggling with what should I help them with? Those are the contents that we've shared this morning. If you're just joining us, please, you would have access to this video on my page, guys, so you can watch the replay and you can still post your questions. You can also watch it on YouTube. I'm going to download it and put it on YouTube later on today. And of course, if you do have questions, bring it on. What do our young people need? The right codes of conduct, the social skills that they need to be able to thrive in the next level of their lives. I'm going to speak about something else, and I have another question for you. Sorry, Tina, is situational etiquette, networking etiquette. That's something that our young people struggle with. What we find these days is that you would find sometimes you even see a family having lunch or dinner in a restaurant. Everyone is on their phone. Everyone is on their phone sending text message. They're talking on the phone. They have to do a little Snapchat and all of that. And that gets in the way. Now, I would love you to speak to our younger ones. Why is this so disgusting? And why do we have to get rid of that behavior? I mean, if you are in front of someone, if you're going to be dining with someone, give them some respect of their time of being with you by just being present. And welcome, Sarah. It's good to have you in the house. So please speak about that, Tina. Just over to you.
Yes, it is so difficult to get our young people to put their phones away, but it's so important that they are present and they're connecting in the moment. We definitely want to encourage them that there's a time and a place for everything, and at the dinner table, when you're visiting with someone, even when you're just having a one-on-one conversation, it can be very disruptive. It can be a distraction when you're on your phone. We just need to sit aside some time for those that we love and care about, or just come and that we interact with, to show them, that shows people that you value them and that you value what they have to say. So that's why it's important, and I encourage them each and every day. Even I hate that schools allows for children to bring their phones to school because it's a distraction, but they do allow it. But it's definitely a distraction, and it interrupts their learning time.
I totally agree with you. I mean, the schools allow them to bring the phones, but I think the phones should be in their bag until after the school hours. So it's important. I hope we have some educators on the line, and somebody should send this message to the school system that if you're going to allow the phones with the kids, please enforce that they're in their bags, in their knapsacks, in their backpacks, and they shouldn't bring them out until after school because it's a form of distraction. I can imagine how difficult it's going to be for the teachers to be able to work with students if you have a class of students and they're all on their phones, like nobody's listening to you. Now, finally, Miss Tina, can you share with us, your story? We want to know, why did you think this was important? You have a background in psychology and in other great things, or even in the health sector. And why did you think this is so important? Why did you start pursuing this? What got you or empowered or inspired you to start working with young people? Over to you, Tina.
Oh, well, my story is a real story. I was inspired by my own manners growing up. I had terrible manners. My
Okay.
parents tried really hard, and they did the best they could. They were working parents, and sometimes as working parents, you don't always have the time necessarily to teach your children
That's
everything, but
right.
they did their best. And I believe that it takes a village to raise children. I started
Mm-hmm.
a program because it wasn't programs like this around when I was growing up, and I felt like it would have been very beneficial to have programs such as this where children can come in, engage, and interact with their peers and improve their social skills. And so I wanted to create something, as a former educator. Children coming in kindergarten, they hadn't been taught these skills, and I spent a lot of time just teaching to their behaviors and teaching, them how to interact positively with others. A lot of children, some children are only children and they don't have to share with anybody at home. So it was difficult for them coming into kindergarten, having to share their crayons. They did not understand that concept. So, programs like this where they're able to get in there and see that it's, sharing is caring. I wanted to create something that they could, have to reference, set the guide for them and kind of set the bar high, so that they know that there is an accepted code of conduct that we all agree on. And it helps us and everybody to get along and to to feel comfortable and at ease. So that's why I kind of got started. Like I said early on, I had bad manners. I know that your manners can make you or they can break you. And I want
Absolutely.
children to understand that your reputation, your character, it precedes you. People are going to remember. People still remember to this day that I had bad manners. They won't let me live it down, even though I've changed my behavior and I don't have bad manners anymore. But they remember that, and so it's so important. It's a blueprint that you set for yourself, and I want the children to set the bar high. I want them to begin with the end in mind of what they want to present to the world. And so that's kind of how I got started. Just as a mentor to children, I kind of played with Manners Matter early on, just trying to see when, if it would be effective, if it would be something that children would be interested in. And I found that children they are interested in knowing the correct way. They haven't been taught. We can't just expect for them to know these things. They have to be taught and they have to be shown what it looks like, what it feels like, and how confident that they can feel once they have put these into play in their daily lives.
Wow, that is such a powerful story, and thank you so much for being that transparent. And that is so impactful. To hear that, that you used yourself as an example, and of course you have been able to benefit from this program. You've seen how far you've come, and I think that's such a powerful story, and thank you so much for sharing that. And this is so important. Parents at home and educators, this is so important that we work with our children to be able to prepare them for the world ahead, because nobody's going to do it. They want to be able to leave the right impression in the room. Like John Maxwell states that your character will not only open the door for you, but it will give you a spot in the room. That's the only thing that's going to keep you in the room, your character. Now, if your character is off, people are going to kick you out. And welcome, child. It's great to have you in the house. Some of you are late to the party, but you can have access to the video on my page. We've been having this conversation with Tina on the ABCs of transitioning from backpack to briefcase. Now, finally, Tina, I just have one more question for you because we have a lot of educators in the line this morning. Now, what would you say to teachers out there? How can they help the children? Because I find that, of course, the teachers can get frustrated working with different kids, and some of those kids show up being so disrespectful.
Mhm.
And so, of course, the teacher is just going to be like, oh, you know what? I have my family to deal with at home. I really don't care. But we want to encourage you, teachers, because the children spend so much time with you. After the parents, I think you're the next person that the kids really spend a lot of time with. And I find that some parents, kids wouldn't even listen to their parents, but they'll listen to their teachers. Like, oh, Miss Williams said so. So it is supposed to be correct because Miss Williams said it. So, what would you say to teachers? How can they help children in basic things to embrace basic things like politeness, like respect? How can they help to imbibe some of those things as they educate the children during the day in the classroom? Over to you, Tina.
Yes, I definitely, I hear a lot of educators tell me, that starts at home. That's the parents' job. And, it does start at home. It does. But I always say, but it doesn't end there. And that's where the village come in. Teachers, educators alike. We're village workers. And students are looking to us to be an example. The best way that we can influence them is that we ourselves have to be polite. They have to see us doing it. We have to lead by example. We have to showcase the same skills that we want them to showcase. If they don't see us doing it, then they're likely not to do it. So it is very important, and I know that it's hard for educators. As an educator myself, when they told us they wanted us to start teaching these core values, it was very difficult to incorporate that into our lesson plans, along with everything else that they have to do. So it is very important to maybe just find some fun activities. I remember a good activity that I did just about honesty. I think it's called Honest Aid. And it's a very good activity for small children, just kind of getting them to understand that this is something that is expected of them. And we are going to set the standard there and expect for them to reach those goals that we set for them.
Wow, I think this is so great. And Tina, I have learned so much from you this morning. I just want to say a big thank you again. And
Thank
thank you to all of you who have been here with me this morning and just having fun. And if you still have questions, please bring them on. Thank you to all of you who have stayed to the end. It has been great. It's been fun learning from Tina. This is the Civilized Presence. Like I said, we're here every Mondays and Fridays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. But lately, we're just switching to 8:30 time, just because it's such a long drive. There's so much traffic. I don't know what's going on. I think it's the summer, and I don't want to say 8 o'clock and 8 o'clock I'm not here, and that's why I would say 8:30. So please, I know a lot of you are not used to seeing me here at 8:30, so please try to adjust your time. It's still the same message, and come in at 8:30. But we were so many people today this morning. Thank you so much, all of you. I know I've still been getting messages in my inbox and still asking the question, Louisa, when is the book study getting started? But please grab your copy of The Civilized Leader. We will get started very soon. And the way that I want to do this is going to be in a private group. Um, and it's not going to be on our usual Mondays and Fridays. It's going to be in a private group. So you have to grab a copy to be part of the book study. And, I'm going to get that to you as soon as you place an order. You can have it on Kindle. We have the hard copy. Some of you have already grabbed your copies. Thank you so much. And another thing that I want you to know is that if you want to be able to share some of your great content with us, please send me a mail. It's Louisa at the civilityacademy.com. Louisa at the civilityacademy.com. And if, of course, there are certain topics that you would want to learn about, please let us know. I mean, lately I've had so many questions, and I got someone asked me a question some time ago about dressing with decency. And I said, we're going to bring it back. I think we're going to bring some of that very soon. And thank you so much, Sister Eileen. It's great to have you here. So we're going to be dealing with that because we want to tread carefully when we're talking about appearance. So it's a topic that I'm very passionate about. So I'll be bringing that very soon. So guys, thank you. We've come to the end of our session. Of course, I hate to let you go, but I have to. Some of you, I did not see your comments right on time. So if I did not mention your name and your comment, because I've had to switch from different screens, I don't know what's going on with Facebook this morning, but I'm not seeing everything in the same place. But welcome, Dave. It's great to have you. Welcome, Akim Ripple. It's great to have you, Yan. It's great to have you. Thank you so much. If I did not mention your name, guys, it's because Facebook was a little funny this morning. I don't know what's going on, but I didn't see everyone at the same time. So welcome. Thank you for some of you who I didn't even know that you were here, but I really appreciate all of you for always hanging out with me. So let me know what topics that you want to learn about. This show is for you. And so I want to bring in information that you love. And thank you so much. Eileen said, thank you for your investment in our youth, Tina. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yes, Tina is doing a lot of great work out of Arkansas. And so if you're around that area, she's also on Facebook. So you can check her out on Facebook, connect with her on Facebook. She's happy to work with you. And she has, Tina, can you tell us a bit about a program that you have that's coming up?
Yes, we have our start the year off right coming up August 31st. We're going to be at the Jacksonville Community Center from 10 to 2. Basically, just going to be sharing etiquette tips, first impressions, art of communication, making sure that they're having polite communications. We have fun activities planned, such as are you being nice or nosy when you're communicating. We just have a lot that we want to share with them, a lot of back to school tips that I'm going to be giving them that's going to help them have a great school year. So we have that coming up, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jabber, you got in late, but I know it's also late from your part of the world, from Iraq. Thank you for always joining the show. Thank you. It's such an honor to always have you here. So, guys, if you want to learn more about that program, please get in touch with Tina. She's happy to share the information with you. So it was so nice hanging out with you. I have to let you go, but I hate to, but I promise you that I'm going to be back on Friday, same time, 8:30 a.m. Please mark your calendars and be here with me with another great guest that's going to be coming in 8:30 a.m. on Friday. Civilized Presence. We will be right here. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube and share. We have a lot of great content. I told you today that this is session number 120. We have so many videos. We have the book studies that we've done in the past, so many great videos. We've had lunchtime sessions. They are all on the YouTube channel. So if you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I don't know what you're doing. You have to. Okay, so you can be part of what we're doing and just share it with other people. Share it with your kids, share it with your neighbors and people around you. And thank you for all that you do. So I have to let you go now. And Tina,
Thank
thank
you
you,
so much. I
thank you,
appreciate it.
thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was so great to have you, and we look forward to having you again in future. Thank you, and have yourself a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.